All right, darling. So you just had
Hey.
Woodhill.
Yeah, we had, yeah.
Okay, tell us about it. Was your car ready for Woodhill?
Yes, it
How
was.
prepared were you?
To be honest, I thought it was the best it was going to be this year. We got fifth last year overall, fourth in class. So coming to this Woodhill, I felt pretty confident, to be honest. We did all the changes we needed to do to it, and did some testing, and thought we were really prepared for the race.
And how did you go?
Unfortunately, we had a CV failure, so the rotary outer CV exploded, so ended our race pretty much, which is quite frustrating because I've done 10 Woodhills, probably. I think I've done about 10 Woodhills, and it's the first time I've ever had to go and retrieve my car. So and you go into it thinking you've got your best prep car forever, and last 2 laps, so it is quite frustrating.
Okay. And have you got any major repairs that you need to do for the next race?
No. So really just a basic service and a new CV, which I've got a spare one. So not really, to be honest. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay, so I know it's been a while since you've done a complete build, or you've completed your build.
Yes.
But for our new viewers, why don't you tell us a bit about your race car? What inspired you to build a Class 1?
So I decided to build Joe about 10 years ago. I had a bit of pen and paper and drew it up on a bit of cardboard, and so I've always wanted to build a car that was not transaxle related. So obviously because of costs. So I talked to my gearbox guy, and we talked about building a turbo 350 setup, which in America they run all the turbo 400s. And we decided to go with the turbo 350 and race proof the gearbox so that it was all manual shift and everything. But anyway, I was trying to build a car that was cost effective, that didn't cost a lot of money to rebuild if something went wrong. These guys are buying these Class 1s, they just cost thousands of dollars to service. With this one, I'm trying to make it so it's affordable. So that was pretty much the plan over the car, was to build something simple, affordable, to maintain. So that's my sort of inspiration of it, really.
Okay, so you talk about building something with low cost, or to make sure that it's not going to cost you that much.
Yes.
How did you manage the financial costing of building the race car?
As I say, close your eyes when you swipe the cards. You just got to work on a budget structure. You just can't go spending money. I've had a lot of people help me with not financially, but with help buying parts. That's why I've got a lot of names on the cars. I call the Beat Up Shop, Alan Butler, Greg Hogg. These guys have really helped me out by giving me parts they've had over the years. It is expensive, but when you have friends helping you, it does make it a lot better.
So in terms of ongoing costs, do you budget for that as well? Do you put aside a certain amount to make sure that you can cover the costs?
Yes. So I try and have a budget for after a race, to make sure I've got a base set to service the car, like oil changes, gearbox oil changes. There's obviously times we've got to pull the gearbox out to get the service, but I really only do that when there's a problem. But we haven't had an issue with the gearbox or the engine as of late, so we've come up to year 3 now. So it's that side of it's been really good.
Actually, while we're on that subject, in terms of getting your car ready for a race,
Yes.
Obviously there's a cost that's involved in getting your car ready. So how far out do you plan to make sure that you've got the funds, to pay for the race, to get the petrol for the car? Do you do quite a lot of planning ahead before you get into it?
So with that question, I pretty much go from race to race. So I prep for the race and then do the race, and then whatever needs to be done on the car, and then depending on timing, because sometimes we'll need to redo the bearings, and so what I do is I plan the next race, so and affordability to do the next race. So the next one's the Peter Hell, which is in 3 months, so I will budget right, I need $3,000 to do the Peter Hell. So within that time frame, I try and save up that amount of money, and then within that last week, I try and prep the car for that race. If the funds up there, we don't go racing.
Okay.
That's important.
All right. Now, in terms of racing, you did suffer a setback with Woodhill. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what happened there?
So Woodhill, last year we've been having diff issues. So I upgraded the diff to a full-blown race 4 9-inch diff, and got that all done, and then so we went testing. The car was really good, had no issues. It actually felt like it was probably the best it's ever been, to be honest. So going into the race on Sunday was pretty exciting. It's the first time I actually gone, not having to think about when it was going to break down, So, but unfortunately, it's CV blue, so that's just one of those things you just can't. Just happens, So just unfortunate. I think I broke the cage and all the CV balls fell out, and you're going to drive on the road there, so you pretty much lose your race. Yeah.
And other than this, have you had any other major setbacks?
Yeah, so I ran a electric power steering unit, and I've been having issues from it from day one. Well, not day one. Something happened. I don't know where, but sort of mid through the first year of racing, had a crash and changed things, and for some reason the power steering's just been a pain in the ass. So last month I decided to change the unit to a different system. We did a meeting in Manukau and the steering just kept turning off and playing up, so I decided to change it to a different model power steering unit. It seems to be working, so wow, I'll set the back. It's actually, I'm thinking about going to hydraulic now because it's sort of, it was playing up, but I'm not sure if it was because of the CV blowing. And because when they drive the car keeps trying to turn right. I think I'm trying to counteract it and it keeps turning off. So I'll probably just need to do another meeting and just see what happens with that.
Okay. And lastly, for anyone who wants to build a race car,
Yes.
what advice would you give them?
For my personal experience, do a lot of homework, a lot of forward planning. I knew what I was going to do from day dot. So I bought all my parts first before I started building the frame. So I bought the diff, the gearbox, the engine, the wiring loom, the shocks, the CVs, the axles. I bought everything. And then once you get to that stage of having all your parts, because all your parts will add up to build a car, this is probably $100,000. And then once you've got everything, you can start building the car and piecing it all together. But yeah, a lot of forward thinking, a lot of forward planning, and try and get as much help from friends, from companies that are going to help you out. Because there's no way I'll be able to build Joe if I didn't have that help in the background.
Alright, so why don't you show us what happened?
So this is a typical 934 CV, which is most common run CV that most class 1s run. So unfortunately this cage broke here through here, and then once that goes, see that there? All the balls fall out, and then it just blows this apart. So yeah, she's pretty knackered. So I wrecked the spline on the axle. It's supposed to look like this. Like that one there. But unfortunately that's what ended our race.